Well, Mark Twain went on to say it's more ancient than the legends. And when people had not thought of Rome, there was Kashi. When Athens had not really manifested in human mind, there was Kashi. When the phenomena of Egypt had not happened, there was Kashi. So Kashi is the most ancient living city on the planet. The greatest minds in this country came from this place. Albert Einstein said, the Western sciences, the modern science couldn't take a single step without the basis of Indian mathematics. And that mathematic came from this place. It is a machine, it is a yantra created. It's a cosmogenic effort to bring cosmos to you. These 26,000 shrines, developed satellites or many angles of the temple became small shrines of its own and went up to 72,000 shrines at one time. When it's in full glory, 72,000 shrines across this mechanism called Kashi. And this did not happen overnight. The basic structure happened at a certain period, nobody knows when. They said even Sunira came here looking for something. Sunira is dated as something like 40,000 years ago. By then already it was a flourishing city. Mark Twain puts it in perspective, saying that it is older than the legend. In terms of antiquity, nobody knows exactly when. Shiva came here because the city was so beautiful and he wanted to come. So before he came, it was already a phenomenal city. I am not a devotee of Shiva because he forcefully invaded my life and took me over. So I would say I am a slave but I project it like he is my partner, but actually a slave because every step and turn in my life has been guided that way. And I say he's my sleeping partner because he does nothing, I do all the work, but everything is his this is my life So, what is my thoughts about Kashi? It's very important, the time has come in the world where the world has to move away from divisive dogmas and philosophies and ideologies. This is what Kashi Vishwanath means. Vishwanath, as you know, it means the Lord of the world, that means it is for all life on this planet. And when we say Kashi, it's a tower of light. What is the significance of a tower of light? And how does a place become a tower of light? We must understand Kashi as a mechanism. I'm using the word mechanism very consciously because it was built as a yantra with 72,000 shrines and 108 main temples, 54 of them for Shiva and 54 for Shakti, giving equal significance to masculine and feminine and forming a body. It's like a living body. Why 72,000 shrines is, there are 72,000 prana nadis in the body, so it's a mega human being sitting there. And the idea is to connect the micro and the macro, or the individual and the universal. So this is an instrument to transform and transcend a human being to areas and spaces that individual human beings by themselves may not be able to do. Not everybody is steeped in spiritual practices. How do they find expression to their longing? Because there is no human being in the world who doesn't have a longing to touch aspects and dimensions of life which are not yet in their life. Everybody wants to. Some people may invest their time and energies to do that consciously, others here and there aspire for it. Maybe instead of genuinely seeking within themselves, they will have a drink or they will drug or they'll do something. But you must understand all these are aspirations to touch something of the beyond. So here we in this culture, in this Sanatana Dharma, we created instruments through which you could touch even ordinary people who don't have… who are not steeped in spiritual sadhana. they can also have an opportunity to transcend and transform their way of being, if not in their early life, at least towards the end of their life, they must go to Kashi to do this. There have been many attempts like this in the country, there are many places like this, but Kashi is a very, very daring project. A few thousand years ago, the size and the complexity and the sophistication of what it is truly incredible. And unfortunately today a lot of it is lost, but this is phenomenal that once again some revival has happened. The first time I went there, some journalists came to me and asked, Sadhguru, what is your impression of Kashi? I said, it's fabulous and filthy. They didn't like it. I said, see, this is the reality, you better address the filth. Fabulous is there, nobody is missing it, but if you do not address the filth, fabulous could get buried in the filth. Here we are, at last, Kashi has a revamp, Kashi has some amount of, if not the whole system being revived, at least a part of it being revived. I think this will go a long way for many, many people who aspire for this, who want to be there but cannot be there simply because of the way it was being conducted. So this is a huge step in that direction. One must understand this is about Vishwanath, this is about an inclusive process. This is not an exclusive process, this is about everybody. I hope everybody gets this message, and also the temple also is conducted in such a way, it does not discriminate between one and the other. During times of invasions, during times of occupation, during times of British rule, they evolved rules to stop other people, other nationalities and other religions. They used to stop at one time. I think that is largely gone, it must completely go. Anybody who wants to come, it should be open to them, because this is about Vishwanath Ji. Since pre-independence there has been a thing, but particularly post-independence, we are being shy of our culture, because we want to project ourselves like we are westernized and everything, because if you have to be modern, you have to be westernized. It's only now in the last 5–10 years that there is a resurgence that you can be proud of your culture, you can be proud of who you are. This has come back fortunately in common people. It's a very positive thing, because no nation will move forward in a big way if they're ashamed of being who they are. So I think that was a significant part, and apart from that, without political will, that could have never happened. Fortunately, it's come together now, and it's great. It doesn't matter what is the history, there's a painful history behind Kashi. We can forget that and look forward to how Kashi can be a glorious thing, because Kashi, well, Mark Twain went on to say it's more ancient than the legends. And when people had not thought of Rome, there was Kashi. When Athens had not really manifested in human mind, there was Kashi. When the phenomena of Egypt had not happened, there was Kashi. So Kashi is the most ancient living city on the planet, and India as a nation, we must not only be proud of it, we must preserve it and nurture it in such a way that it will draw people. Kashi, as a single force, can handle nearly 50% of India's tourism as such. I must tell you this, when I happened to be in one of the large hotels there near Kashi, in the hotel, everybody, I mean everywhere, they were only projecting that place as a destination for Saranath. That is the Gautam Buddha's first place where he taught. But what they forgot was, Gautama also came all the way to teach near Kashi, because he thought that is the best location for him to teach. But today it was being projected that way. I spoke to the management and told them, what is happening here? There is no mention of Kashi. In Varanasi there is a hotel and no mention of Kashi, it's all about Saranath. They said, no, all our clients are from Japan and other Buddhist countries, nobody else comes. So essentially it had become, this I'm talking about 12–15 years ago, essentially it had become that only very common people, village people, rural people will come to Kashi, the elite will never come to Kashi because of the conditions that were there, and only the Buddhist tourists were coming to go to Saranath. We must understand that Gautama himself chose to do his first teaching near Kashi, because if at all if you had to teach anything of significance, if at all if you had to get an audience who will understand what you're talking, you had to go to Kashi at that time, that's how it was. And this was a center of knowledge, This is a center of spiritual process, above all a center of transcendence, and it's fantastic, it's being at least reasonably revived.
Yantra means a machine or a mechanism. Normally every machine that we have built essentially to enhance who we are. So whenever you create a machine, you're taking a certain part of the earth. Everything that we have created is dug out of this planet one way or the other. When you take material from this planet, there is a certain inertia to that machine. So when we think of something that has to function for perpetually or for an extraordinary length of time, we want to create a machine which does not have this need for inertia. So we try to create an energy machine. This is what you traditionally know as yantras. Yantras can be very simple yantras. A simple triangle is a basic yantra. Various types of arrangements can be done to build different levels of machines which will function for your well-being. So this Kashi is a phenomenal yantra like never before or never after, to create a large human body, a magnificent human body which doesn't have the inertia of carrying physicality with it, so that it will be on all the time and it can just download the whole process. To create a tower of light, to create a connection with the cosmic manifestation, and here we are, the microcosm, to connect these two things, they created 468 temples. They're shrines. The basic temples are 54 for Shiva, 54 for Shakti or Devi. This is because in the human body itself we see that one half is Pingala, other is Ida, this is masculine, this is feminine. This is why Shiva being represented as half Ardhanarishwar, half female body and half male body. So they created the whole city like this body, and these 468 came because for 13 months in a year, in the lunar calendar, every 3 years there's an extra month. 13 months and 9 planets into 4 directions or 4 fundamental elements. 5 elements are there, we don't do much about Akash. Your physical body is seen as 72% water, 12% earth, 6% air, 4% fire, another 6% is space. So if you have mastery over this, all yogic system comes from an essential science called Bhuta Shuddhi. That means mastering or cleansing the elements within you. If you take certain mastery over your elements, suddenly you will see wonderful things will happen to you. I can show you thousands of people who walked out of their physical ailments simply because they do some simple Bhuta Shuddhi process. So based on that, they created this. Whatever we saw as Sapta Rishi Puja, in tandem, in 468 temples, these things would be happening. And it would create such a phenomenal energy that everybody was longing to be in this place. And if you're born in India, your only dream is to go to Kashi. And it not only became a spiritual center, this was a center for music, arts, craft, and a commercial center and an educational center. The greatest minds in this country came from this place. Albert Einstein said, the Western sciences, the modern science couldn't take a single step without the basis of Indian mathematics. And that mathematic came from this place. The basis for that mathematic is here. And these things, the yantra, the way they created the city is so meticulous. Geometrically, mathematically, it's so perfect, so absolutely perfect, that everybody wanted to be here because it created such a phenomena around itself.
You know the story about how Shiva, manipulator, he asked Parvati to drop her earrings and she dropped. And it fell, sank into the earth. Vishnu, being a ladies' man, yeah, has to be chivalrous. Shiva is like that. Vishnu is he has to show his chivalry. So he went to pick up the earring. Well, as he dug deeper and deeper and deeper because of this labor, and he started sweating so much, it gathered in a pool, which became the Manikarnika. Manikarnika was actually a pool or a kund. On the banks of it, people were doing cremation also. So, this pool got merged with the river. It is said that when the Manikarnika pool was formed, there was no Ganga. So Ganga came later. When she came, the kund merged with the Ganga. When they looked up, Shiva looked like a tower of light. We must understand this. You ever flashed a powerful torch into the sky? You tried it at least in the night and you saw a tower of light going up if the thing was powerful. You don't know where it ends. Nobody really knows where it actually ends. It looked like it went forever. So this beam of light just went unstopped by anything. So this beam of light is the symbolism of Kashi because it is a machine, it is a yantra created. It's a cosmogenic effort to bring cosmos to you. Because fortunately, every tiny bit of this cosmos, from an atom to an amoeba, to a single-celled animal, to everything else in the universe and the larger cosmos are essentially made to the same design. Kashi is an effort to bring union to the microcosm and the macrocosm, to the limited and the unlimited, to physical manifestations and limitless dimension of existence. It is not that we have to bring union, it is already in union. We have to reorient ourselves from our survival mode to transcend our survival mode and look at the existence. For this we needed tools. If you perceive the nature of the cosmos, suddenly the way you operate, the way you relate to the existence in which you live is totally different. Do you have to be in Kashi to do this? No, not necessarily. But see, you can achieve health anywhere. But a lot of people go to the hospital when they are ill because it's a common place where certain tools and facilities and medicines and expertise is available in one place. So Kashi is that kind of place where there was a whole system, there was knowledge, there was mechanisms for that, there are methods for that, variety of capabilities, everything, every kind of specialist lived here at one time. The most important thing in human life is to know the limitations of your body. Yesterday you were born, tomorrow you will be buried, only today is there to live. This is the nature of the existence. And before death becomes today, life needs to blossom. So every possible mechanism that we could use, we set it up across the country. There are many mechanisms like this, most of them unfortunately broken, including this one, which is largely disturbed, but the energetic part of it is still, if not absolutely, pretty alive. Because always when we consecrated spaces of this nature, including Jnanalinga, it is not in the structure. Structure is only a scaffolding. Kashi is generally said, by legend, it is said that it is on top of Shiva's Trishul, it is not on the ground. What I am seeing in my experience is, approximately the real structure of Kashi is about 33 feet above the ground. If we had any sense, we should not have built anything beyond 33 feet. But we have, because sense has always been scarce. Yes, it's been a very scarce material in the world. And by geometrical calculations, it could be up to 72 or 7,200 feet. The energetic structure is made like that. So this is why they called it a tower of light, because those who had eyes to see saw that it is a very tall structure. And it did not stop there, it gave you access to what is beyond. The idea is to achieve something that a human being could achieve within himself or herself through an organized mechanism which comes from distilled essence of thousands of years of realization of many, many people. If you have to realize things by yourself, it's like reinventing the wheel, unnecessarily going through a whole lot of painful processes. But if you have to realize through others' knowing, then you must have humility, you must bend down and go. So, this arrangement was done so that a lot of people could be transported. So people came and they set up all kinds of methods and mechanisms. Well, at one time, there were over 26,000 shrines. Each one of them had a method of its own as to how a human being can attain. These 26,000 shrines developed satellites or many angles of the temple became small shrines of its own and went up to 72,000 shrines at one time. When it's in full glory, 72,000 shrines across this mechanism called Kashi. And this did not happen overnight. The basic structure happened at a certain period, nobody knows when. They said even Sunira came here looking for something. Sunira is dated as something like 40,000 years ago. By then already it was a flourishing city. Mark Twain puts it in perspective, saying that it is older than the legend. In terms of antiquity, nobody knows exactly when. Shiva came here because the city was so beautiful and he wanted to come. So before he came, it was already a phenomenal city. Just about 2 years ago, they discovered 3 layers of temples which were all closed down for a long period of time. This means the city has sunk over a period of time and again it's been rebuilt one on top of the other. There are 3 to 5 layers of the city because over a period of time, the earth kind of recycles itself. It has been ravaged for 6-7 centuries continuously. In spite of that, still, if you're a little sensitive, this is a fantastic place. Well, can we put it back into full glory? I don't think so. One thing is, too much disturbance has happened. Another thing is, building back something like that is the fool's paradise. It has been ravaged many times, but because the energy body of Kashi was 33 feet above the ground, it is still alive with some damage, substantial damage, but still a phenomenal place. Because if you want to look at it this way, there's one way to interpret. It's a home with 72,000 rooms, more than 3,000 are alive in the energy form. For every dimension of life, for every quality of a human being, they built a linga. This is how these temples came. For every aspect, one linga. Some extreme, some very much socially acceptable, some beyond all social acceptance, all kinds of things existed in parallel. Nobody found fault with anything. Anybody could do what they want as long as they're seeking mukti. As long as they're seeking liberation and they're sincere about it, they could do whatever they want. That is how significant mukti was considered to be. You must attain in this life. So the entire process of seeking mukti comes from this point. That they want to clear this, they call this karma. A cloud of memory and imagination playing up and deceiving you to believe so many things which are not true, which you will see as you sit here. The only damn thing that you have is life. Rest is all your imagination. Mukti means liberation. So liberation means essentially to become free from yourself, because you are the only nuisance in your life.